is about getting back into real football with actual contact and, wrapping up, tackling people, blocking people, those things that real football entails. Walk me through what yesterday was like, the joy in having that moment finally after all these months. And then on the other side of that, balancing that with being patient about contact and understanding it's a long season ahead, despite a short regular season, still many months to play, and trying to keep the wear and tear down, trying to balance those two things, wanting to make a lot of contact, but also trying to be smart about it.
Yeah, so it feels really weird. We're thinking about putting on pads. The first time we've done that, the last time we did that was actually in spring. So it's a weird feeling. There's a lot of different things that we have to work on when the pads come off, then when the pads are off. So we realize that we still got 4 more weeks. We're not going to be killing each other every day. So we still have time, and we're not going to be doing so much wear and tear on our bodies. But then again, we do have to get in football shape. We got to learn how to tackle. We got to do certain drills to make us prepared for that first game. So we're going to be doing it the right way. It was a great first day, really weird, but I think we handled it well as a whole.
And Pete, a big factor in that is the fact that you have so many veteran players at your position group in particular. You've got 4 seniors who played a ton of football, all kind of leading that group. How much does that experience, your shared experience as a group, lend itself to playing this preseason and building up to this weird year that it is, intelligently and doing it correctly with the best proper technique and intelligence of making sure you arrive at the first game in your best possible position?
Yeah, I think it's great knowing that our linebacker group is one of the most knowledgeable groups on the whole side of the defense, and I think that really helps in our favor. We're kind of the middleman through the whole defense, and just having that knowledge and leadership between our groups, and not just us 3, me, Baron Tuff, and you could say Justin as well, being those older guys. We still got guys that are just a grade below us. We just got an old group and guys that are all going to contribute a lot. And that really is working for our favor because we got a young secondary. D-line is getting up there as well. But we're really being great leaders in this linebacker core, and it's really going to help us, and it's going to be in our favor come game 1.
Thanks, Pete.
Yep, no problem.
All right, next up is Tony Gerdeman from Buckeye Scoop with Joey Kaufman on deck. Tony.
Pete, how is the transition to Will going for you? What do you like about it, and do you miss dropping back into safety every now and again?
I do like it. It's weird kind of playing in the box. I haven't really done that since my high school days. But it is a good feeling, a good transition. I feel like I have the opportunity to make maybe a little bit more plays, but it's just an opportunity to show more of my versatility. And I think I've done a great job transitioning, and just a lot more vocalization I need to do. And it's a good feeling having guys like Tuff on my side, being the mic, and then younger guys that I can learn from as well, that I've played the position for a long time. But it's something that I'm still getting the hang of, but I will be ready game 1.
And do you miss the opportunity to play safety every now and again?
I mean, if you think about the plays where I did drop at safety, there wasn't many. And the plays that I did, hopefully the offense didn't know that, because seeing a big guy like me at safety is not always the best thing. But I will. It was fun. It's fun to see on film, and I will miss it. Yeah.
Thanks.
All right, next up is Spencer Holbrook from Leonard Monroe with Dan Hope on deck. Spencer.
Pete, this is the second year that you guys have had Al in the room with Coach Washington in the room with you guys. Does he just seem more comfortable in year 2 with you guys, knowing you guys a little better and knowing what you guys do best?
Yeah, he has, and he's brought in a lot more energy to the table as well. He's a great guy, great coach. We're always going to learn stuff from him, and he's kind of that energy giver. When it comes, we're about to practice, and he's the guy right there trying to pump us all up. as well as being a great coach. And he has stepped to the plate a lot more this year and been very, very comfortable.
Thank you.
All right, next up is Dan Hope from 11 Warriors with Jeremy Birmingham on deck. Dan.
Pete, what do you think it is about your game that made that transition to will linebacker a right move for you this year?
I think that's a question for Coach Madison and Coach Washington. I wasn't really one to kind of make that decision, but because I know a lot about football and have been around the game for a long time, the switch has come very natural. There's obviously some footwork and some certain things that I need to work on, but as far as transition, I think it's kind of second nature. But there is minor things that I need to work on. Just the eyes and different keys are different. You're in the middle of the box, taking on blocks, and a lot more things you need to do with your eyes to kind of see and read your keys than being Sam.
What's kind of been your advice to guys like Justin and Barron who are now playing that Sam position more, from your own experiences?
Yeah, I'm just telling them I played that position the whole year, and really what to focus on, what you'll see based off of formations, where you need to put your eyes, how's your footwork going to look. But they've done a great job. Justin's played that position all year, so he knows it just as well as I do. Barron, he's an athletic kid. He's a smart football player. He's picked up on it very well. So I don't have to communicate to them as much because I know that Coach Madison's a great coach and he's gonna get them in the right spot, the right position. But yeah, just little things like where you put your eyes, where your keys, and they've done a great job of that.
Thanks, Pete.
Yep.
Up next is Jeremy Birmingham from Letterman Row with Joey Kaufman on deck. Jeremy.
Hey, Pete, both Coach Washington and Tuff mentioned how close you guys are as a group right now in the linebacker room. And I guess in a time when the majority of the country seems like it's going crazy, how have you guys been able to get closer than you were before, with all the trouble that the rest of people are having doing that?
Yeah, it is crazy. I really do think that we're one of the closest units on this team, and we've been with each other forever. And I think Coach Wash and Coach Madison have done a great job with uniting us, because all these meetings that we've had, you talk about this time that we had off all throughout quarantine. We're still having Zoom meetings. We're still doing all of this, maybe at a faster pace, and we're doing this more and more than we would if we were at the facility. So and Coach Wash, he picks on us. He kind of makes us laugh, and we all know everything about each other, and we're all really good friends. And some of my best friends on the team are actually in the linebacker group, which is understandable. But we've gotten so close, and I think that's a credit to Coach Wash and just us all being there for each other.
And if I could transition to a guy that we thought was going to be in your position group but isn't, what have you as a leader of the team seen out of Court Williams that really helps fans and people who haven't seen him get a glimpse of what that player and leader can be down the road?
Yeah, you can already tell he has leadership qualities. He's a guy that does everything right, does what the coaches tell him to do. And he knows football. He's just a guy that has knowledge for the game, and you've seen that. He's a quiet guy. He's quiet, but he really loves the game. He's always got his headphones on, ready for practice, prepping everything like a game, which is awesome. But yeah, you can tell he's ready, and once he gets that opportunity, and especially in the future, he's gonna make people like what they see.
Thanks.
Yep.
All righty, next up is Joey Kaufman from the Columbus Dispatch with Nathan Baird on deck. Joey.
Pete, if you guys had to play a game on Saturday, where do you guys feel your tackling would be at, just not being able to be in full pads for much of the off season?
Yeah, it obviously wouldn't be as good as we'd like it to be, but we've been doing a lot of drills to help that. There's not much you can do. There actually is more than you would think that you can do to help tackling, and that is tracking the hip, tracking the ball carrier, because that's almost 80% of how to get a guy down is tracking. So, and we can do that without pads on, but it would be a little bit worse but give us this time going up to game one and how we fly to the ball, how our defense pursues to the ball. I think you're going to like what you see.
How much of last year was tackling, do you think, contributed to you guys' improvement overall on defense?
Yeah, you think about in 2018 compared to 2019, our tackling, it was crazy. And I think that's all contributed to how Coach Madison and Coach Wash, when they communicate and they stress the importance of running to the football, that is a huge deal when talking about our improvements in 2019 as far as tackling. If we can do that again, we're going to have the same results. But that is a big contributor to how we are a great tackling team.
All right, up next is Nathan Barrett from Cleveland.com with Austin Ward on deck. Nathan.
Hey, Pete. What is the thing that maybe Ohio State fans or general public, however you want to say it, what do they not appreciate about Tuff Borland enough? Where does he not get enough credit for the player he is?
I don't think they understand how good of an athlete he actually is and how much of a leader he really is. And you talk about his knowledge for the game. I've never seen anything like it. I really haven't. He's in here watching film, doing all this, and how he attacks the meeting rooms as well as on the field. They're very similar, and he just loves football, and he helps me how to watch film, how to love football as much as he does. It's just crazy that people really don't see things that he puts in to be a great football player, and that he's kind of the out of the scenes guy, and we all know that. But the way he approaches the game is like no other, and his leadership is best in our unit, almost the best on the team. And I wish people saw that more. But he's really worked hard this offseason to focus on his body and his athleticism. And I think what you see out of him is going to be great.
All right, we got time for just a couple more for Pete, and we will start with Austin Ward from Letterman Row. Austin.
Pete, I asked this knowing full well that you would play any position that Coach Washington or Coach Madison or anybody asked you to play. But when they told you about switching from Sam to Will, were you surprised at that, given how well you had played in that role last year?
I was surprised, yeah, because I thought that as well as I played in 2019, I would have improved and strived a little bit more going into next year. But they saw what I did in the box a few plays during Sam, and they really liked it, and they saw that in the Clemson game. And I think with switching me and Barron, showing different versatility options, and I think they really liked that. And I think they thought it would favor our defense a little bit more. Having a disciplined guy in the box, I think, is something that they thought as well. But I was a little bit shocked knowing the way I played the previous year. But then again, the coaches know what they're doing. That's as much as I can say there. And I think we're doing well so far going into it.
And for those, who may not understand the significance of going from one role to the other, how big of a change has it been? How different has it felt for you?
Yeah, I'm thinking that the little things matter at this position. One wrong footwork, one wrong step, it results in you being behind the play. If your eyes aren't in the right spot, then it's going to be a big play. But having guys as disciplined as we are in the box, I think that it's going to work out very well. But it's very tough switching the position. The only thing that helped me out is a bunch is being an older guy, knowing every position on the defense. I'd like to say that I could play at any position on the defense just because we know, and all of us know the defense so well. And I think that helps us being as good as we are on the defensive side, knowing everybody's spot, just because we can correct each other. We can make that correction right on the field. But yeah, with transition, tough, but I think we're all capable of doing it.
All right, next up is Bill Rabinowitz from the Columbus Dispatch with Tim May on deck. Bill.
Pete, just the idea that you are switching positions, that Barron's switching positions, does that kind of keep things, to prevent you guys from getting any kind of sense of complacency given the experience you have, that it is a new challenge, and you know, if there was any thought of, okay, just another year and I know exactly what I'm doing, that changes things?
Yeah, I don't think there's ever a thought or sense of complacency on this defense. We're stressed so much by our coaches that we aren't who we were last year. In fact, that we probably had a little bit more talent than we last year than we do this year. But I think that maybe puts a chip on our shoulder. But I mean, people could argue the other way. But I think that because we have a chip on our shoulder, we want to be who we were last year. There's no complacency there. And our leadership on the team, we will get there, and we will do what we say we want to do.
I'm assuming that's because Malik left, right? That's what you're referring to.
Malik, Chase, Jeff, and Damon.
Okay, you're talking about the defense as a whole as opposed to the
Oh,
linebacker.
yeah. We're talking about all defense.
Okay. And the fact that the secondary is talented but inexperienced except for Sean, does that kind of add to your sense as a linebacker group, your responsibility to make sure that you are doing everything right in terms of leadership on and off the field and just, you know, your assignments and everything?
Yeah, but I trust the coaches. Our young secondary are going to get it. They're going to get. I'm not worried about them. We got a great coach behind there, and but then again, I'm still focused on leader, helping them off the field and in the film room, telling them what to do, what do you see. We're all communicating. So I really do trust them. But then again, being a leader, you got to be behind those guys' back.
All right. Thanks, Pete.
All right, next up is Tim May from the Tim May podcast with Bill Landis on deck. Tim.
Yeah, Pete, I had your mom on one of my podcasts, but she was off the record. She was really excited about your position change. And I said, yeah, going from where you were to where you are now, Will, it's kind of like becoming a little bit of a lead singer on the defense, and I'm just wondering, it does kind of feature you if you can take advantage of it, right? I mean, what is your sense of that?
Yeah, I mean, there's always positives thinking of that. I just know that switching this position, the coaches saw something when doing it. I think that because of my leadership role and communication skills, I think that you need that more inside the box than you do outside. And they saw that as a benefit, and I think it's going to work out in favor.
Gotcha. And one last thing, I mean to bring up bad memories. A lot of people thought the college football playoff game was kind of stolen from you guys to a certain extent, but you guys also defensively went all year until that game without really giving up big gash plays. And you gave up at least, I think, about 3 in that game, which really, flipped that game a little bit and stuff. And how much is that kind of stuck in y'all's craw a little bit as you get ready for this season? Because y'all had been really good about that, compared at least to the year previous.
Yeah, so big plays is obviously something that we want to not give up, and I'm going to say the last 3 games we're not our best, not just the last game. You talk about the Big Ten championship and other. Those big plays are what we can't afford, and being on this defense, giving up a big play is huge. So the first games of the season, we look great, but then the last, just because we give up big plays, it makes us look like we're not a good defense, which we weren't. But then again, the teams know what we're doing. They can game plan us a little bit better than they could have week 1 through 5 or 6. So we're going to see harder plays, things like that, and obviously better opponents. So it requires more discipline on our parts, and we can't do what we did there. And we're obviously watching film of the last 3 games, and our coaches even mentioned it today. Watch the film of the last 3 games. We weren't who we were at the start of the season.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, man.
Yeah, that's all.
All right, and this will be the last set of questions for today. It'll come from Bill Landis from The Athletic. Bill.
Hey, Pete, it felt like at times last year when you were in that Sam role that if they did take a backer off the field to put on an extra safety or whatever, it would have been that Sam position. Do you think now that you're at will that essentially you were not going to come off the field. It didn't feel like Malik was ever really taken off the field all that much, and now you're kind of sliding into that role.
Yeah, I would say, maybe sliding in more of Malik's role as the will spot. And yeah, so that Sam's the hybrid position. So on more like run dominant plays, that we're going to keep that Sam in. When we're thinking pass, 3rd and longs, and we're throwing in a speedy, fast guy, which that's not more of me than one of these young nickel or corner guys.
So who are maybe some of those guys then? If it's not going to be you who's in that kind of hybrid role, who do you think will come in and play some of those opportunities?
We're still trying to figure that out. We don't really know the names yet, but we just know that when it comes to those long 3rd down long situations, then we're going to have the right guy in the field.
Thanks.
Yep.
Pete, really appreciate the time today. Thank you very much.